Hello, Big Brother fans. Review of episode 27 of Big Brother 14. Well, Julie shows up and surprised the house guests that this was going to be a surprise eviction. Danielle didn't have on a face, and Shane didn't have on any pants. So it was definitely a surprise. Dan hurriedly grabs Ian and takes him off into a side room, and they powwow for a little while Julie talks to us, and then we flash back to what had happened prior in the week. Jen was once again surprised that Dan escaped being nominated. Surprise, surprise, hello. But yeah, that really made her pissed off that once again he pulled a fast one. She wouldn't talk to him, was very pissed off, and finally Dan just said, listen, I gotta talk to you. Why are you mad at me? And she's like, congratulations, you pulled another fast one. I don't know how you do it, but you do it every time. And he's like, well, I don't get it. It's the best thing for us. It's like, it's our chance to get out Shane. And then, so he flips the script and he gets her back on his good side and reassures, that yes, it is indeed the final three, that they're gunning for Shane. They're going to get him out. Well, we skip now to the POV, which is called Time Flies. If you noticed, Dan and Shane did not wear their gloves that they were provided with, so their hands got pretty torn up by flying back and forth. I noticed that Danielle wore hers, and yet she was griping and complaining and moaning and groaning the entire week that her fingers were torn up from the competition, and begging for band-aids the whole entire week, because everything's about you, Danielle. Just a little aside, we don't get to see any of that except for on the feeds. I mean, if people saw half of the crap that that she pulls in that house, I don't think that anyone would vote for her for America's Favorite, which is coming up, by the way. Anyway, they cut to diary rooms on each person. It was kind of funny because Shane wanted to win so that he could be safe. Dan wanted to win so he could get Shane out of there. Jen wanted to win to take herself off, and then Ian wanted to win because he wanted to keep the nominations the same. They didn't bother asking Danielle what she wanted to do if she won the POV. I think she was at that point probably thinking it's best to throw it, because that way, she can't get Shane off the block and allow him to go home as per plan. Anyway, it was interesting because Shane's method was to take all of the pieces over and place them all in his trough and try to make up the puzzle, just watching the time to go back to reset the clock every 20 seconds or whatever's. Whereas Dan was, his was to get them, to put them on the board and then fly back, back and to stay back, figure out the puzzle from afar, and then keep hitting the reset button so he doesn't have to fly back and forth. Ian was, his way of doing it was to put everything on the board, but he kept having trouble with the clock. So it's interesting that the only real person was the stupid person that was, Shane's not the brightest bulb in the pack, and Ian is supposed to be the brilliant person, and yet he's the one that just couldn't figure it all out. So anyways, in the long run, Ian was eliminated and started to help Shane, which pissed off Jen, because she's like, I'm not getting any help, what's going on here, kind of thing. And Shane wins the veto, as well as a luxury competition that came along with it. And so then he, the next day, they're told to come in because he was given his luxury competition and he got to choose a house guest of his choice, and he chose Danielle to go with him. And they went to go meet the U.S. women's gymnastic team. It was kind of pathetic. I'm just going to say, put it out there, like, right away. Danielle grabs his hand in there, and, they consider it their first date with a kiss on the cheek in the diary room. And it was, later on, you'll see where she's feeling that in her gut she knows that this is real, But yet later on in the show, Shane is like, I gotta win this, yo, because even though another quack packer is gonna go up, I don't give a crap. It's me or whatever, kind of deal. So if it was real, he wouldn't care. He would let his Danielle stay off the block. Come on, Danielle, you're in a game for $500,000. They go to see the Tour of Champions, which is the U.S. Olympic women's gymnastic team, and it's some kind of a show where they do their flipping and flying and whatnot, and they got to meet the Fierce Five, and Shane said, I got all jittery. Who says that? About meeting 5 young girls. And then one of them asks, are you boyfriend or girlfriend? And then, awkward, Danielle tries to explain that, well, this is our first time out of the house, and we've been locked up in the house. Have you ever seen the show? And the girls kind of like nodded their head, and then Shane asks, well, who's your favorite house guest? And they go, you. Well, you know what? I mean, if they knew him, wouldn't they have known that they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend? I mean, come on, really? Like as if they have the time to watch this show, right? Anyway, Danielle's sound bites are like, it definitely feels like a date. He was being super, super sweet. My gut tells me that this connection is real. And they have a kiss, at least. That was cute. That made her all tipsy, I'm sure. When they got back, they came back with cornflake boxes, and it was all signed by the girls. I'm sure that's going to be sold on eBay. That's kind of the theme this year, was that everybody's keeping everything to sell on eBay afterwards. All their outfits that they wear during the competitions, their duffel bags with their name on it. I think Evil Dicks just recently went on eBay for like $2,200, $2,500, something like that. Really, people? $2,500 for a bag with Evil Dick's name on it? Anyway, Dan tells Danielle when she gets back that he missed her, and then in his diary room says, did I mean it or didn't I? Not really. He kind of alluded to he didn't really care. He just wanted to make sure that even though she spent the day away from the house and under Shane's influence, that she hadn't been swayed to the dark side and was still in a final 2 with him. In her diary room, she's like, do I follow my heart and stay with Shane? Or do I follow my head and be with Dan? That is going to be the $500,000 question too. Let's see. Like I said, Shane had said he wants to win this PO. He won the POV, and he's going into the ceremony, and he says, I'm taking myself down, and a quack packer will have to go up in my place, but oh well, screw them. I'm gonna do what's good for me. So he uses the veto, and Ian replaces Danielle and puts her up on the block. And he tells her in, for his speech that it's not in my rational best interest to give a couple both of the votes this week. So, they're seen as a couple, but yet not seen as a couple, because they're not really a couple, but Danielle just keeps pushing the issue to make them a couple. This kid wants nothing to do with her, really, but he's too sweet of a person to tell her, fight me, back up a little bit, But, that's his downfall too. I mean, if he has told her in the past that he wants no showmats, he wants no part of them being seen as a couple, because, that's not in his best interest, and, couples always get picked off, but she continued to pursue it. Bless his heart, he's stupid as all get out, but yet, he's too kind to tell her, listen, psycho, back it up a bit, Anyway, they go to commercial, and it's time for America's vote for America's favorite. So, who are you guys going to vote for to win the money for America's Choice of America's House Guest. Now, you know, they have this ongoing joke in the house where they talk about Jody, or they mention her at least once every single day, because she was only in the house for 6 hours. I just thought it would be super uber funny if Jody won favorite house guest. I just think it would be funny. But I know that Team Janelle is out there texting like crazy, or on CBS.com going like crazy voting for their girl. It will be interesting to see who wins. Seriously, you know, I can see Frank winning, definitely. I can see Ian winning, definitely. And then of course, you know, the fanatical Janelle people, I could see her winning as well. So those are the people that I predict one of them are gonna win. Jen, we go to the eviction finally, and Jen's speech was too funny, you know. She says, Danielle, I love you to pieces. Shane, you're a great guy. Ian, Dan, much love. I guess she didn't have much to say for them to. And then Jen was voted out to 0. Julie asks her, did she regret using the veto on Dan? And Jen says, no, I have no regrets whatsoever, you know, for anything I did in the house. And that's, you know, that's a very gamer like stance on it, you know. Sometimes people get very bitter, you know, like Frank was very bitter. And I mean, I can understand it, you know. Some people get out and they're very bitter because, you know, they were like just into this game, you know. And then there are people that are there and they know it's a game and they understand it's a game, so they know what methods people use, or the degrees to which certain people will go, and they can appreciate that because it's a game. And so I enjoy that she appreciated that, you know, it was just a game, you know, and she didn't regret using it. She said that it was her big move. Hang on, gotta open it up for the girl. That was her big move, and she decided that she was going to join him instead of being on an opposing team, because, I mean, you know, where are you going to go if you're opposing, right? You're going out. But if you try to join him, you know, you can at least try to ride a little bit further on. Yes. Julie then offers her a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and after touching it all over the place, hands her the plate. And, you know, I'm thinking, really, peanut butter and jelly? The girl hasn't eaten in, what, 2 or 3 weeks, and they offer her peanut butter and jelly sandwich? And then on top of that, peanut butter. Hello, have you ever tried really talking with, you know, after you've taken a bite of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Peanut butter isn't the best thing if you want to talk right after that. So they send her off and they do the HOH contest, which earlier in the day the house guests were surprised with photos that were to be used in the competition for them to study, and the game was called Photographic Memory. And the questions would be asked on the, you know, the contents of each photo. And in the long run, Danielle won. So Danielle is the HOH, and already I've done my spoilers of who was nominated and who won the POV. So it will be a very, very, very interesting episode tomorrow evening to see who is going to be evicted. And we will see you tomorrow. Bye.